Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser blog. If you enjoyed today's blog, please hit the subscribe button. We love growing the Hellraiser boxing family. Today's Hellraiser blog, we're going to look at Carl Frampton versus Josh Warrington. It's in Manchester. It's not quite neutral for me. It's nearer to Warrington for sure. Easier to get to Manchester from Leeds than it is to Belfast. And go home on the train straight after the fight. It's a real weird one. It's a very tight call, and I mean, for me, it's strange because Frampton, I would say quite quickly, I would say he's the better technical fighter. I would say even though he's just moved up a weight division, I'd still have him as the puncher of the two. But I've just got a feeling I've got a sneak. It's not like I'm not that confident. This is a fight where if one guy delivers a 10 out of 10 performance and the other one delivers an 8.5 out of 10, regardless of how good they are, the one that under delivers is going to get beat. It's that close. I think if I'm judging the fight, I say let's judge it on they both deliver a 10 out of 10 performance, and on that basis, like I say, I've got a sneaking feeling. It's not like a confident, like, get your house on it, I think you can, I don't think that at all. I think this is a very, very close call. I think you've got to really take your hat off to both of these fighters for taking the fight, because how many times do we see a guy win a world title and the first thing he wants to do is go and pick someone out of obscurity and make a case for them being in the top 10, and then they put the fight on and it's one-way traffic. This absolutely is not that. This is definitely not that. And the man in form, I'd have to go for Warrington here. The performance against Selby, I mean, a lot of people, okay, you can say Selby was tight at the weight, which he definitely was. He looked dead at the weight before the fight. He looked absolutely depleted, and he fought like he was depleted. But at some point, you've got to give Josh Warrington credit. He's beat Lee Selby, and Lee Selby before that fight, a lot of people were saying Lee Selby would beat Frampton, or he'll be the one to. And I sort of expected Frampton to beat Selby, but I saw that as a huge banana skin, not at all like a certainty. I see that as a very, very hard fight. But like I say, at some point people have to start believing in Selby. I mean, in Warrington, because he's beat Selby, he's beat Dennis Salen, he's beat Kiko Martinez, Patrick Hyland, Joel Brunker. All of these guys are maybe not elite level, but they are high level performers, and they're in the genuinely in the world sort of top 20, and he's been beating these guys fairly convincingly. So Martin Lindsay, Dennis Tuberon, Rendell Munro, these are all guys that are quality fighters. And it's like, whenever he beats Rendell Munro, oh yeah, but Rendell's finished. Beats Lee Selby, oh yeah, but Lee Selby was dead at the weight. And Lee Selby did look absolutely depleted. But at some point, you've got to start believing in a guy who keeps winning against top-rated operators. And there's no way that I think this is I mean, I have Frampton as a better class boxer, but I think the pressure that Warrington will put Frampton under will be more than anything Frampton's ever been under before. Got to remember, he's moving up in weight, and I think Warrington, they're saying this is neutral, it's in Manchester. I don't see it as neutral. I think that Warrington, easier for his people to get there, easier for them to get home. Like Manchester, not too far away from Leeds. And I think there will be an edge in terms of the atmosphere and the crowd in there. I think that will go to Warrington. I don't think that Warrington... I think Warrington will try and bully Frampton, and he might have a lot of success because he is slightly taller, he's got a slightly longer reach. He's the younger guy, he's possibly hungrier. I mean, remember, Frampton's been at that level, he's earned a lot of money in his time at that level, and Warrington is sort of new into that area, and he showed himself against Selby to be able to control. I actually had a big suspicion that he would get beat by Selby, firstly, and secondly that he would try and bully Selby too much, which would play into Selby's hands, but that Warrington would do that partly as a result of the atmosphere, because you've seen the press conference where it was quite a sort of football crowd, like, not exactly a thuggish atmosphere, but it was sort of veering towards that direction, and I just thought possibly the occasion might get to him, but it didn't. He performed immaculately against Selby, and no one can fault him. And like I say, at some point you have to start believing in a guy who keeps delivering results, who keeps winning, who keeps stepping up and improving as he steps up. And I think you're going to see him here. I mean, in terms of tactics for the fight, I think Frampton is the better boxer. I think Frampton has to try and turn it into a chess match. I think Warrington has to turn it into as close to a street fight as he can. But Warrington isn't actually a thug. He's not like a brainless brawler who just comes forward throwing loads of punches. He's actually, I think his trickery, if you like, is underrated. And I think that people don't give him the credit that he's due in terms of his boxing brain and his boxing ability. And it's certainly his ability to chop opponents down and to corner them and force them into his kind of fight. We've seen with Selby, who's a top operator, who's beaten a lot of world-class guys, was unable to cope with the pressure, even early on in the fight. And that's relevant to me, because if he was tight at the weight, okay, in the second half of the fight, he would have been very depleted. But at least early on, we would have seen more. But Warrington was able to dictate, even early on, the pace of the fight. And for that reason, I think, I feel very confident that Warrington is underrated skill-wise. I think that too many people watch what it looks like, which is just a guy coming forwards, cutting the ring off and steaming in. And I've got a feeling here, his tactic has to be, against Frampton, I think, to cut the ring down and try and bully Frampton. Frampton, not the easiest guy to bully, got to tell you, and he's a very, very good boxer. Skill-wise, you've got. I mean, I lean towards Frampton in terms of pure boxing, but I think Warrington. Look, Warrington's not been at that level for the same amount of time as Frampton, and I think it could be. This fight could be decided on margins, which is why I'm not going to bet on it, because one thing alters slightly, and the whole prediction sort of goes out the window. But I think we could well see Warrington here force the fight upon Frampton, cut the ring off, go to the body early and suffocate Frampton. And Frampton's not been under pressure like I think Warrington will put on him. I don't think we've ever seen Carl Frampton under pressure like Warrington will put him under here. And I've just got a sneaking feeling that Warrington's going to pull it off. I mean, this is a fight, I've changed my mind on it, and I've looked at so many different permutations that it's not a fight where I feel confident, right, that's what's happening. But I think if they both fight as best as they can, top of their level, I've just got a feeling that Warrington might nick a lot of rounds early and might drag Frampton into Warrington's type of fight. If I have to predict it, I'm not going to say this with any confidence, but I think Warrington on points. I think that I'd look at this, and I love Carl. I worked for him and Barry McGuigan for a while when he was on his way up. Really good guy, top boxer, very good boxer, really a gentleman. I don't know Warrington, so actually I hope that Frampton wins and does pull it off. But I've just got that feeling that we're going to see the best of both of them, or very good of both of them, but that the best that Frampton can give now maybe isn't as sharp or as good as what it was before. And that's nothing to do with the trainers, absolutely not. I just think the thing that slants it for me is the fact that Frampton's been at that level before, and maybe just the fact that Warrington hasn't, and he now seizes this as possibly his only chance to get on that bandwagon, to go up the levels and really pull off a big performance. If Frampton does end up dictating the pace, then I think he wins it. If he can keep it at a low pace and turn it into a boxing chess match, I don't doubt for a second Frampton, has the skills and can win it. My worry is I just think that the atmosphere in there might be pro-Warrington, and that Warrington might turn it into his kind of fight. And I've never met him. I've met his dad. Very, very likeable guy. Nice, decent guy. And I think I can understand why he sells so many tickets. And I just got a feeling, in my gut, if you like, that maybe he'll pull it off. But look, it's not with any conviction that I do that. I won't be betting on the fight. I will be watching it. I'll also be watching Chisora and White. It's a shame that they're fighting on the same night. But there we go. And guys, if you enjoyed the blog, please hit the subscribe button, because we're trying to grow the channel as quickly as we can. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the fight, and please drop some comments, because this is such an intriguing fight. I'd love to read them. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.